Hello peeps, this is Tango and welcome back to Tango's World of Fics. Today I will be reading Two Sides of the Same Coin, Old. And this is chapter 11. Let's just get right into that. Okay. Nezu had been watching his boy all morning. Last night was odd. Midoriya almost always answers his phone immediately, but he didn't. Normally, the kid wouldn't let himself fall to the floor, but that happened when he got a bloody nose. He didn't even try to leave and go to the nurse. He just stayed on his stool and answered necessary questions. When lunch came, Bakugo had prevented the kid from running off, and the kid struggled a lot. It had certainly been a weird 12 hours or so, Midoriya being the weird part of the time. Nezu had so many unanswered questions, but he doubted he would get answers to any of them. But as Nezu went over to the tapes from this morning, something piqued his curiosity. Midoriya had walked in with Shinzo, the two of them walking side by side, except when Midoriya tried hiding behind the taller boy. Nezu had expected them to be at least acquaintances, but when Nezu looked at the different camera, they exited from the same car. Nezu's thoughts spiraled as he tried thinking of reasons that they would be together. As he went to go grab a notepad from his desk, Midoriya had finally escaped his friend and classmates. The kid had gone back to his classroom and grabbed his bag, awkwardly roaming the halls until he went to the bathroom. He slipped inside and stayed there. The bell rang and the kid still hadn't reemerged. As he switched the camera to 1A, everyone was chatting happily in their free period. Nezu sighed, jumping off his chair and heading down the halls. As he stood in front of the classroom door, knocking 3 times, and then entering, the class went silent. "Hello, students," he chirped, smiling as he looked around, and his student still hadn't returned. "Oh, where's Midoriya?" he asked, giving a head tilt. He noticed Bakugo paling and standing up from his chair. "What are the chances of him getting lost?" the blonde asked, heading for the door. "That's a great question. I'm sure he'll be fine, though there will be no reason to go find him." Nezu was interrupted by a slamming door. In the frame of the door, Midoriya stood, knees buckling and sweat running down his forehead. "Oh, Midoriya, are you okay?" Nezu asked with a grin. Behind him, a smaller, innocent girl appeared. "I'm sure he's fine," she said with a smile. Nezu stared at her for a moment before dropping his grin. "Suki, what are you doing here? You never come here. It's usually rainy," he said, walking up to the girl. "Well, yeah, I need Izu-chan's help," she stated awkwardly, rubbing the back of her neck. Midoriya offered a glare before collapsing into the ground. I don't think that's a good time," the mouse offered, going to his student. "Izu-chan," she said, slightly worried, as she kneeled next to him and he shot up to his feet. He only to topple back over. The girl brought a hand to his forehead and drew it back like it had burned her. "Jeez, Izu-chan, you should go take a break when you're burning up." Midoriya shook his head and mumbled quietly. I'm good. Lightly pushing away from the black-haired girl. "Izu, come on, we gotta go to the nurse," she said back. He replied with a softless little no, ever, standing up for himself and walking to his stool. "Midoriya, how did you get sick? You were fine last night," Shinzo said, suddenly appearing. Get sick easy," the boy mumbled, out of breath, getting quieter by the second. Suddenly, his eyes went dull, and he stopped swinging around. "Let yourself be escorted to the nurse's office," the tired teen commanded, helping the boy off the stool and walking with him to the door. Good application of your quirk, Shinzo, as expected of you," Nezu complimented, walking next to his student. "Now let us be off to the nurse. I'm sure Mike won't mind you missing his class," Nezu said with finality. Leading the way out of the door. Upon arriving to Recovery Girl's office, she leapt off her chair and went to the boy. As she guided him to another room, consisting of 2 cots and a few chairs, he was released from the brainwashing. "Okay, he mumbled again. She shook her head in denial and tried forcing him to rest in it. "No, you're not. Now, come on, I need to see what's wrong with you," the woman huffed. He tried pushing himself out of the bed, only to be held back by Suki. "Izu-chan, stay still," she commanded. He thrashed against her hold, only having his arm cuffed to the bed. He glared at the silver material for a moment before trying to break out of it. "Now, let us leave him to his room for a moment and let Recovery look over him," Nezu said, scooting the teens out of the room. "Shinzo, may I ask why you know that Midoriya wasn't sick earlier?" Nezu asked, sitting on a stool looking menacing. He was out last night and missed his train. My parents took him home with us," he said, shrinking into his uniform collar. "Oh, is that why his uniform is too big?" Nezu retorted. Recovery Girl came out of the room with a scowl. "Nezu," she growled. The principal visibly flinched at the woman, looking at her with slight fear. "Yes?" he finally responded. "Can you explain to me how your student was stabbed and how it got infected?" she asked, each word filling with anger. Nezu's face went blank as he thought for a moment, before finally answering something. "He was stabbed?" Recovery Girl whacked him with her cane. "Yes! Are you listening to me?" Nezu nodded at the question, going back into his thoughts. A loud cacophony came from the next room, causing the two pro heroes to charge in there. The cot was flipped over, Midoriya awkwardly hanging by it. Did you try to flip the bed to escape?" Nezu asked. The teen nodded sheepishly, a blush slightly layering his face. The two teens came up behind the pros and stared at a moment, seemingly dumbfounded. "And that's why you were handcuffed to it. I knew you were a flight risk. Now tell me how you were stabbed," Recovery Girl huffed, going over to fix the bed. Midoriya shook his head, not meeting anyone's eye. "Nezu! Shinzo! Suki, get out!" the woman barked. Midoriya visibly paled as Nezu led the teens out of the room. Slightly scared of the nurse, Shinzo gave one last look at the boy, his face still red from the fever and shifting awkwardly under Recovery Girl's gaze, looking guilty. The door was finally closed and Shinzo came back to his class just in time for the lesson to begin. He bit his nails and lower lip with nervous energy as he was worried about his new friend. He had shown no signs of being hurt or sick yesterday, so then how good was he at hiding injuries? In the notes, it just has the Discord server again, which still isn't working. Hey, sad. I don't have any notes for this chapter, but also it's pretty short, so I think I'm just going to move along and go on to the next one. Yay! Yeah. Okay. This is chapter 12, and yeah, so notes, and let me just write down that this is chapter 12 too, because I'm not going to remember that. Memory problems, man, bro. Okay, anyways. Oh, also, I don't know if anyone, I just want to mention this in the middle of recording, so you have to listen to it, and you have to know this, I mean, unless you just skip. Anyways, I got the permission to record 2 different Psyche fics, which I'm really excited for, like Psyche K, The Disastrous Life of Psyche K. Those are really exciting, and I love Psyche K. They're 2, they're longer. I don't know how long they are, I can check though. But I'm planning on recording those sometime soonish. I just wanted to see if maybe anyone listening likes Psyche K and will listen to it. Because, yeah, I don't think there really is many, podfics of Psyche out there. But hopefully this will be one that people will want to listen to and stuff. Also, Toilet Bound Hanakoku, and I wanted to look for some ones, but there wasn't really any ones that I could record. And, yeah, so. Anyways, let's get right into this next chapter. The room was silent for a moment, but Midoriya wished it was longer. "So tell me what happened," Recovery Girl said, her arms crossed across her chest. The greenette turned to her and then back to looking out the window. The woman huffed out a breath and waited. The room was wrapped in silence again. "Midoriya," she stated firmly. He didn't budge or make a sound. "Midoriya," the Recovery Girl repeated, but it fell on deaf ears. The heroine watched as the boy flopped against the mattress, barely moving while breathing. Her own breath hitched and worry flooded her thoughts as she came over to inspect him. Upon going to reach out a hand to the boy, he curled up into a ball and started mumbling. I just wanted to be a hero. I'm sorry. I'm useless. I can't be a hero at all, can I? The insults kept quietly coming out of his mouth, not ever stopping unless it was interrupted by a sob. Recovery Girl tried to unwrap the boy from himself, but it didn't work. Eventually, she noticed his nails digging into his arms, and that was the final straw. She quickly walked out of the small room, accidentally bumping into Midoriya. Hi, Recovery Girl. Sorry, but it appears I've broken my arm again, he chuckled. She shook her head and went to her desk, pulling out a sedative. Stay here, Midoriya, the heroine hissed, walking back into Midoriya's room. Upon looking at the bed, there was no shaking child, and the handcuffs sat limply off the bed. The heroine swayed, going back out the door at the blonde student. She sighed and went over to inspect the broken arm. As she placed a kiss on the boy's arm, it fixed itself instantly. You can rest here, but I have to find someone, she huffed, running out of the room with her cane. She soon found the principal pacing outside her office. He escaped, she stated, allowing Nezu to look up at her. Where did he go? Do you know? He asked, his ears tilted downwards. A buzz filled the air between them, the sound originating from the mouse's pocket. The mammal pulled out his phone, answering it and bringing it to his head. Nezu, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The words went by so quickly that it was hard to pick up. The voice was panicked and raspy, and it was far too familiar for the mouse, though. Hey, take a deep breath for me. Where are you? Why did you run? Nezu questioned, trying to distract the boy. Our office, was the reply, meek and filled with sobbing in the pause. Nezu kept talking on the phone, distracting the boy while he made his way to their office. Nezu slid the door open, looking at the shaking teen in the corner of the room. He was wrapped in a weighted blanket. The kid's features still screamed at Nezu that the boy was still sick, but he did not bring the boy back to the nurse. Instead, he walked over to the boy, leaning his narrow muzzle onto the boy's shoulder. Hey, he cooed, moving a paw through the boy's curls. I'm sorry for throwing you into this. I shouldn't have shoved you into 1A before checking if you were okay or not. Nezu apologized, moving the blanket to be wrapped around the both of them. The mouse hummed out a random tune, hoping it would distract the boy enough. Apparently, it did, as his teen leaned onto him, fast asleep. The boy's face was red with a fever, and tears tracked down his cheeks. 3 knocks came from the wall, 2 quickly, then 1 after 2 seconds passed. Nezu pressed a button on his sleeve, the wall opening up to reveal the nurse. She knelt down to the pair and placed a cooling pad on the boy's face. Did you get anything out of him? The woman asked, taking a needle of medicine and slowly inserting it into the boy's arm. No, did you? Nezu asked back, watching the process without squirming like most would. When he first started freaking out, he mentioned that he wanted to be a hero, so I guess he tried to save somebody, she stated, moving to the pad and turning down the temperature more. Would it be a good idea to move him to the couch? Nezu asked, his ears tilting downward. Recovery Girl nodded, and the two looked between themselves. Silence was between the pair until Recovery Girl spoke out. Neither of us can move him, can we? A slight chuckle came from the principal as he brought out his phone. Mike knows about him. Message him? Recovery Girl shook her head. He doesn't know about the secret office. Silence wrapped up the pair again until a suggestion rang out. Bakugo? Nezu thought for a moment until he nodded. He left the secret room and went to his main desk, reaching over to the PA system. Bakugo sat quietly at his desk, glaring in a hole into the offending stool that Midoriya had fallen off of. When the purple-haired fucker walked in, he turned to glare to the boy. So, what makes you think you can be so close to Izuku? He growled. Shinzo raised an eyebrow and scoffed. What? Do you have a right to call him Izuku? President Mike stood awkwardly in the front of the room, not sure exactly what to do. I have all the right. After all, I'm his only friend, Bakugo retorted, sparks flying from his hands. Well, maybe it's time for him to be friends with somebody who isn't an asshole, was the quick response, causing a few gasps. Bakugo growled, sparks flying off his hands, and they grew bigger. Is that so? Was the simple statement that Bakugo muttered, all while angrily stomping to Shinzo. Mike tried to move forward as the blonde lunged at the other, who merely sidestepped. The door slammed open, and Eraserhead was standing there with his hair floating. Why are you idiots trying to fight? The teacher sneered. Bakugo's sparks were long gone by now. Bakugo rolled his eyes, crossing his arms. Bakuho is just being an ass. He thinks I shouldn't be friends with Midoriya, I guess, was the tired teen's response. Before Bakugo could give a snappy retort, the PA system came online. Will Bakugo Katsuki from Class 1A come to the principal's office, please? Bakugo was immediately alert. When students were called, it was usually announced as a main office. He quickly knew something might be wrong with his friend and ran out of the room. His hands gave one final spark as he heard some idiotic comment from the other teen. But Izuku was more important. He ran to the office and found an open wall, which was never good in his opinion. Ah, Bakugo, can you assist us with moving Midoriya to the couch? He doesn't want to be in the infirmary, it seems, Nezu chirped. The blonde teen groaned, but quickly and carefully moved the fragile teen to the couch. So, why do you smell like burnt sugar? Nezu asked, taking a seat and combing through the unruly green black hair. Oh, yeah, that fucker was being a dick. I wanted to make sure he stays away from Deku. Oh, well, I personally requested that the two befriend each other, was the simple comment Nezu made. Bakugo held a silent anger before muttering a simple venom-coated, oh. Well, that's weird. Midoriya seems to have some weird black dust in his hair. Maybe it's charcoal powder, Nezu stated, reaching over to grab some water and fill the spray bottle. I'm going back to class, Bakugo said, spinning on his heel and stomping out of the door. Recovery girl sighed, pulling out some gummies out of his coat pocket. Have him eat these when he wakes up. I doubt he will give you answers anytime soon. And with that, the small office only held 2 people, the secret door silently shutting. But Nezu will get answers. It will just take some coaxing. Notes. Sorry this chapter is late. And then the Discord server again, still not working. So sad. Oh my gosh. Anyways. Seems I didn't have any notes for that chapter either. I'm just like, I have it written down like the number of the chapter each time I have notes. So I don't get them mixed up. And I had it as 11, then I changed it to 12, and then I changed the 12 to 13. So now it's just like, it keeps changing. I don't think I'll be able to change it to a 14. I mean, I guess I could. It would have to be a different 4, though, than the normal 4 that I do, because there's, like, the different ways of drawing 4. Anyways, yeah, so this is a good amount of time for 2 chapters. Yep, that was chapter 11 and 12. I don't really have any notes for it. I just really liked it. I really liked, so he got stabbed, not shot. Yeah, okay. So I like that, I like the little, like, thing between Bakugo and Shinzo. I do like that Bakugo is very protective of Izuku, but I don't know. I think he should be a little bit more chill. He needs to chill out. Seriously. What else was I gonna say? Oh, I like how they make Nezu more human. Like, he has emotions. A lot of fics that I read, he is very, like, emotionless and just, yeah. This, like, kind of dives more into his, like, how he is, and we get to, like, really realize more about his character, and I don't know, it just kind of, you kind of feel him more. Like, normally he's just that, like, Principal Nezu, the rat god, he's super, like, insanely powerful and could hack into your whole system and murder your family in, like, a push of a button. Okay, maybe not that, but, like, you get what I mean. Hopefully you do. But, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, I don't know. I like how Nezu is, and he keeps saying his kid, or his child, or whatever he calls, what does he call Izuku? His teen. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's so sweet. He's like the father. What I feel like might happen is, like, wait, does Izuku have any family? I'm sorry. I, like, don't remember anything. I swear to God. I don't know. Well, anyways. So, yeah. Okay, but he's, like, I feel like he's gonna become Izuku's dad, or, like, uncle. Either one. And then Izuku's gonna be with Shinzo. That's what I'm thinking. Anyways, yeah. Bye. This is Tango signing off. Thank you for listening. Bye.